This is Gregor Mendel, an Augustinian monk. Mendel lived and worked in an abbey in Brunn, Australia, now the Czech Republic. His research was strongly influenced by his study of physics, mathematics, and chemistry at the University of Vienna. The research was both experimentally and mathematically rigorous, and these qualities were largely responsible for his success.
An Augustine monk by the name of Gregor Mendel deduced the fundamental principles of genetics by breeding pea plants. Mendel stressed that the heritable factors, called genes today, retain their individually generation after generation, much like a shuffled deck of cards. Gregor used pea plants due to their large number of offspring and their many readily distinguishable varieties. When crossed pea plants, he noticed that with two purple flower parents, the ratios of offspring were 3-to-1. In relation to purple to white, based on this data, Gregor came up with the following conclusions.
There are alternate versions of genes that account for variations in characters, known as alleles. For each character, an organism inherits two alleles, one from each parent. Two identical alleles meaning homozygous, or two different, heterozygous. If the two alleles of an inherited pair differ, then one determines the organism's appearance and is called the dominant allele. If there's no effect, the recessive allele. A sperm egg carries only one allele for each inherited character because allele pairs separate from each other during the production of gametes.
Using Mendel's laws, we can predict the fraction of affected offspring likely to result from a mating between two carriers. For instance, albinism is homozygous recessive and found in a recessive carrier. So when crossing two parents that are heterozygous carriers of albinism, there is a 25% chance that the offspring is albino, a 50% chance that the offspring is normal but a carrier, and a 25% chance that the offspring is normal but not a carrier.
A number of human conditions result from sex-linked recessive alleles located on the X chromosome. If a man inherits only one X-linked allele from his mother, the allele will be expressed. In contrast, if a woman has to inherit two such alleles due to the nature of being XX and men XY. Thus, recessive X-linked traits are expressed much more frequently in males. And due to the nature of being XY, we tend to have more masculine preferences, such as this fight.
And now for a quick interruption to give you the weather broadcast.
Hello guys, it's Graham from Channel 69 News, bringing you the local weather for tonight. Cincinnati, Dayton, Akron, and Cleveland, Toledo, all 69 degrees, lovely weather outside. Bring your grandma, bring your grandparents, bring them outside. Great family dinner weather conditions. Columbus is going to be 38 degrees. We got some crazy weather conditions for tonight. It's going to be nippy, frisky, damp, and it's very wet outside for some reason. We have mild winds. Our mild winds are starting in Cincinnati, and they're probably going to go over to Dayton too, and they're going to head right up towards Cleveland. In order for a cell to replicate, it must go through the cell cycle. The cell cycle is essentially like a pie graph. It's divided into 5 pieces: G1, S phase, G2, mitosis, and cytokinesis. G1 and G2, they're basically like checkpoints or border control. They make sure everything is correct and is right in the cell before moving on to the next stage. During S phase, DNA replication occurs.
Next, we move on to mitosis. In mitosis, the nucleus and its contents, most importantly the duplicated chromosomes, divide. It's essentially broken down into 4 stages to make this possible, known as PMAT. PMAT. During prophase, within the nucleus, the chromatin fibers become more tightly coiled and folded. Each duplicated chromosome appears as 2 identical sister chromatids joined together at the centromere. The mitotic spindle begins to form as microtubules rapidly grow out from the centrosomes.
In metaphase, the mitotic spindle is fully formed, with its poles at opposite ends of the cell. The chromosomes convene on the metaphase plate, an imaginary plane equidistant between the 2 poles of the spindle. The centromeres of all the chromosomes are lined up on the metaphase plate. The kinetochores of the 2 sister chromatids are attached to microtubules from opposite poles.
In anaphase, each chromosome come apart, separating the sister chromatids. Motor proteins of the kinetochores walk the newly separated daughter chromosomes toward the opposite poles of the cell. As this happens, the spindle microtubules attached to the kinetochores shorten. Also, elongation of the cell occurs, and at the end of anaphase, the 2 ends of the cell have equal collections of chromosomes.
In telophase, the cell elongation that started in anaphase continues. Daughter nuclei appear at the poles of the cell as nuclear envelopes form around the chromosomes. By the end of the telophase, the chromatid fibers uncoil and the mitotic spindle disappears. Mitosis is finished.
Cytokinesis, or the division of the cell into 2, occurs simultaneously with telophase, with 2 daughter cells completely separating soon after the end of mitosis. In animal cells, a cleavage furrow, knife making the cleavage furrow, forms and the 2 cells pinches and are now 2 different daughter cells.
Daddy, I can't sleep. Can you read me a bedtime story?
What's the matter, son?
I can't sleep. I'm hearing something out of scary closet over there. Can you read me a bedtime story so I can go to sleep? Please.
Yeah, I guess. Let me turn the light real quick.
Oh, it's really bright, Daddy.
Sorry. You need the light to see, to read and stuff. You alright?
No,
What time is it?
I don't know.
Jeez.
I went to bed at like 6.
You're up pretty late. You must be having a lot of trouble or something. Yeah, we got a lot of books here. I mean, we got My Dog May Be a Genius, Bobby Orr, the hockey player, biology.
That one sounds good. Could you read that one?
What about the game?
No, biology.
Okay. Anything in particular, or you want me to flip to a page?
Pick a page.
Pick a page?
Yes.
Alright.
If I go to bed, don't wake me up.
Okay. Alrighty. You ready?
Yes.
You feeling better already?
Yes.
Good. Alrighty, I guess we can read about an extra copy of chromosome 21. Causes Down syndrome, I guess. So here we go. So when there's 3 number 21 chromosomes, making 47 chromosomes in total, this condition is called trisomy 21. And in most cases, an abnormal number of chromosomes is so harmful to development that an affected embryo is spontaneously absorbed or miscarried long before birth. But some aberrations in chromosome number, including trisomy 21, appear to upset the genetic balance less dramatically. In individuals carrying such chromosomal
abnormalities can survive into adulthood. Individuals with chromosomal abnormalities have a characteristic set of symptoms, collectively called a syndrome. A person with trisomy 21, for instance, has a condition called Down syndrome, named after John Langdon Down, a doctor who described this syndrome in 1866. You got any questions, or are you asleep over there?
What? Why are you in my room?
You're already asleep. I guess I can read about this to myself then. And now for a quick interruption to give you the weather broadcast.
Stop. Daddy, I can't sleep. Can you read me a bedtime story? Daddy?
Listen, you hear that?
We might just get hit with the Reaper.